now the angular functional patterns. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you some core training exercises that are going to be incorporating multiple planes of motion in one shot. The tools that we're going to be utilizing will be a pulling machine. You can actually use a resistance band along with that. The tool that I'm really going to recommend though is going to be this thing called a Trak handle sport. The guys at TrakFitness wound up sending me one of these tools. These are really versatile attachments. As you guys can see, they're super flexible, pliable, and so they really give you a freedom that you will probably not find with probably any other tools in the industry in relation to pulley attachments. I can't recommend them enough. I will leave a link at the description of this video for you guys to find one of these tools for yourself if you are interested in something like this. To begin the exercise, what we're going to be doing is starting from a staggered stance. We're going to be doing a rowing exercise and then moving into the frontal plane as well. So this exercise is going to encompass transverse load, sagittal plane load through the arms, and then it's also going to be moving us into the frontal plane. So I'm going to be going here, rowing, and then I'm going to step across to the other side of my body in this fashion. So you guys will see where I'm at here. I step over, loading off my right hamstring, stepping over, and coming back and forth. I want you guys to think about how your weight is going to relate through the pulley as you're doing this specific movement. The main thing you got to think about is that if this is pulling you forward, your body has to compensate the opposite direction to maintain your center of gravity. If I'm not holding the pulley right now, my center of gravity is right here. The minute I grab that pulley and it leans me forward, then in this circumstance, my center of gravity is not within my body anymore, it's actually slightly behind me. So when I do this exercise here, what I want you guys to think about is slightly leaning back, compensating your center of gravity somewhat, so that way you can maintain your balance through the movement and so you can maintain that proper efficiency. If you start feeling like your biceps or your shoulders getting burned out through an exercise like this, it's quite likely that you're compensating with the wrong muscles. Really what you should be feeling working are your glutes, your core, and your lats, because right now we're really going to be putting a good focus on the anterior oblique system as well as the posterior oblique system. So I'm going to be going back and forth from here, loading, anteriorly tilting just a slight bit to maintain my center. I'm keeping my center of gravity just a little bit lower as well. You guys will notice how I sequence the row and the step almost simultaneously. I'll do the other side for you guys. So I'm going here, loading myself through that staggered stance, putting most of my weight on my lead leg, if not almost all of it. I then step over, do my row, noticing that I'm keeping my center of gravity slightly back as I go back and forth. Really try instituting that thoracic rotation where your T-spine rotates back and forth. Always, like always, maintain that neutral spine. Unless I say otherwise, maintain that neutral spine. Make sure your TVA is intact. Make sure your diaphragm is intact. That will enable you to rotate into your T-spine, not your lumbar spine where we don't want it. The next exercise is going to require us to bring the bar to the floor. Slightly drop the weight on this one. And I'm going to be, once again, staggering my stance, working from that unilateral position that's so important for us as a human species. What you're then going to do is, rather than moving in the frontal plane, we're going to turn to the right from here. And maintaining my posture, my structural integrity, hopefully should be intact here. This should look fairly neutral. I should look like I'm loading on my right hamstring fairly well. What I'm going to do is push off of this leg, row with my left arm, and then turn and push. I come back and repeat the same process. So I come back here, turn, set myself into a cable punch, moving slightly upward at an angle. I come back into this direction. You guys will notice that as I come over, I set myself here, swing this leg across, here, swing. That's what enables me to drive my rotation. Notice that as I come upward as well, I really try using my upper body along with my leg as a form of reciprocation to my opposite side of my body. So if I'm rowing with one side, I should be pressing with the other. Switching sides here, staggering my stance, neutral spine, T-spine's extended. I'm going to row, pull, and press, coming upward in this fashion. Try not to shrug your shoulders. Try not to shift your pelvis anteriorly. Really maintain that intrinsic stability so that you don't go into inefficient compensatory muscular patterns. So we come back, set ourselves in position, we row, reciprocate with the arm, as you guys will see there. I come back up with the arm, and that now enables me to propel my hand upward. Really go with lightweight first. This stuff can be somewhat abrasive on the joints, especially if you're not used to rotation. You haven't addressed certain things like tibial torsion, if you haven't addressed things like your anterior pelvic shift or a kyphosis. They usually all come in as one package bundle. It's not recommended that you do something like this. Sometimes it can be a good thing because these types of things really are what open up the body and rewire it to move in somewhat of a more graceful yet powerful manner, which is directly what applies to most athletics and really to most efficient movement in reality. We want to be smooth with our movements, not rigid. I do hope that you guys enjoyed that video. Hope it was informative. Really a good core workout, total body workout. It should get you fatigued pretty quickly. If you do about 3-4 sets of that, it should get you tired fairly fast. This is Naughty Aguilar, reminding you to live intentionally and not habitually. I'll see you guys soon.